bye, bye, bye. Honestly, that intro was like...
I have like a really strange opinion on it because I love the premise of like they built up this idea that they were going to completely respect the end of Logan, and then the movie immediately starts off with him literally exhuming his skeleton. But I like the idea as well of Deadpool saying like, "Oh, he's not dead. He can just regenerate. He's fine." He's like, "Oh no, you're really dead."
I mean, they were like screwed if they didn't do that because they had no way to win of like, oh, we're going to respect Logan.
No, of course.
The best way to respect Logan is by not respecting it and making a joke out of it.
I think it was a very clever move on their part. And what's weird is they also managed to do a homage to the first Deadpool, and that whole like scene of where he's counting the bullets. As soon as he said he started listing how many bones there were in the body, I was like, oh my god.
There are 206 bones in the human body, 207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl. Here we go, maximum effort.
I thought the fight scene was great, if not a bit long. But what I didn't like was when it would intercut with scenes of him dancing.
It was a little jarring.
It was jarring. I liked the fight scene, and I liked that as the opening to the movie. But that part kind of took me out of it. But that's fine.
I think so. And like the fighting, the choreography was already synced to the song, so I didn't really need the dancing. It was funny, but it like, I don't know, it was very...
I wouldn't have minded maybe if you just did it once, but it sort of maybe too much. But I think they just wanted to use the whole song, so
I don't know. Well. I definitely think the intro of the first Deadpool movie is better. I don't even remember the second one, but I do remember that each time it's like a scene that it's like later on in the movie that they're like, oh, but all this happened before this.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Which I don't know. The non-linear thing.
I guess it just gets you into the action quicker, and then you can go back and sort of catch up.
I don't really understand a lot of the setup with what's going on in his life to begin with in this movie.
Well, there's like a really strange... So from what I gathered, he hopped over to the Marvel MCU universe and auditioned to be an Avenger, and he didn't even get rejected, but he just got told to like carve his own like path, and then
he went back to his universe.
Yeah, and then he went back to his universe, and he was left in like a slump and ended up becoming a car salesman.
And his universe is the one where Logan's the anchor being.
Yes.
Not the Marvel one.
We don't know who the anchor being is from.
Right.
But what I do know is anchor beings was a thing mandated by, well, not mandated, but suggested by Kevin Feige. So that's like a thing that probably will be coming up in other MCU movies.
I really liked how, because obviously the post-credits scene for Deadpool 2 was him fixing everything with Cable's time machine. And everybody was like, okay, that must be why the TVA is after him for this movie. But like right out the gate, Paradox is like, that's not it.
Yeah,
we don't care about that.
They don't even care. It's like
that's very funny. That's very smart. And Paradox, it was an absolute highlight for me. I thought he was one of my favorite characters. A side note, I think he'd make a really good Q.
Yeah, he would. He's already one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, I've never seen him in anything else. What else has he been in?
Stuff you wouldn't know because he's a British actor. But this was like his best acting role in anything I've ever seen him in. It was great.
He fit right in, and he like bridged the gap between like the TVA that we've seen and the more jovial Deadpool tone, because the TVA we did not have that. He was perfect.
I'm surprised how organically they managed to get the TV into a Deadpool movie.
Yeah, but I also think I agree, but then like they made it a bit clunky with some of the choices they made, because they were introducing like a bunch of new concepts like the Anchor Being and the Time Ripper, and it made this is just a problem with Marvel as a whole right now. They haven't figured out the logic of what they're doing right now with the multiverse, so everything feels a bit messy. And even like with Loki, I felt like I had a good with Loki. I felt like I had a good grasp of, okay, there's a sacred timeline, and they prune off these branches. It's that simple. But now they wipe universes, and because they've stopped doing that, the pruning thing. Because Paradox even says that, which I guess is when because the timekeepers and all that was upended. So I don't really understand the purpose of the TVA anymore.
I liked that before Deadpool had even clocked what was happening, they had a whole suit-up sequence.
That was funny as hell. That whole scene in the TVA, especially when like the Marvel Jesus thing where he runs up to the camera and pulls on the boom mic and is like, "Suck it, Fox." That was very funny.
That might be one of the funniest things I thought that happened in the movie.
It absolutely was. That was very funny.
Suck it, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland. Get fucked.
I mean, let's try to go a little bit chronologically. I mean, because I guess the next thing to talk about is the Wolverines.
We catch up to the whole skeleton fight scene, and then Deadpool starts jumping around to different universes to try and find a Wolverine. And I sent you a list of all the ones that I could remember. He starts with the accurately sized Wolverine.
Comic accurate short king. I'm surprised they didn't have a Danny DeVito Wolverine cameo.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. No, terrible movie. They missed an opportunity. Yeah, so you see, like, there's a lot of nods to the comic book versions of Wolverine that you'd never see in movies otherwise. You've got like a version of him from a storyline called Age of Apocalypse, which I think
that's the one where he's beating the shit out of him in the fiery like alleyway.
Yeah, because I think that's like a harsher like future.
All right.
And then there's Patch, who is Wolverine going undercover in like a gambling operation. I don't really know too much about it. I just know he's Patch. Then you see the one that's like sitting on a porch is Old Man Logan, which is what the Logan movie is actually based on.
Yeah.
There's like really messed up like crucified Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's from a comic book cover. I don't know if it appears in an actual story. I've seen the comic book cover before because when I was watching the movie, I was like, I've seen this somewhere, and then I found it afterwards. Then you know what? You see Wolverine fighting the Hulk.
Classic John Byrne, Brown 10.
Yeah. So that's Wolverine's first appearance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except he isn't wearing that costume in his first. So in his first appearance, it's in a Hulk comic book, and the Hulk goes to Canada and he fights the Hulk, and I don't really know what it's about. He's in like a blue and yellow costume there. It looks a bit different to like his usual blue and yellow one. He's got whiskers.
Horrible.
But then there's another comic book where he's in, the brown and tan costume fighting the Hulk, and in that one, the cover of that it's Wolverine with his claws out, and you can see Hulk in the reflection, and they recreate that for like a split second.
It's the only time you see it, and then Mark Ruffalo got a $10 million royalty check for that.
I suppose then as well, there's just going back a bit, there's like there keeps being that recurring thing of Chris Hemsworth, which is just a clip from For the Dark World, I think.
Is that me? Is that Thor? Is he crying?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Do you think that's going to pay off in like a later movie?
Yeah, there's an interview that they came out with. It might have been yesterday, and they got asked about that, and they said they can't talk about it yet, and that you'll see more about it.
Why was Thor crying?
You know what? I got this one, Sean. It's I'll just say that it's something that we are going to account for at some point. That's about all I can really say right now, but we will account for it.
That's fucking, they're full of it. That's bullshit. They don't have the scripts for like the next set of films done anyway. So like it might become something, but it's not something now, I don't think.
No, I don't. I think they might have an idea of what it could be, but not anything that's like, I don't think it's anything consequential, because I mean it's just probably like an idea for a joke they have. Anyway, the last Wolverine of the cameo ones, which is what I'd call the actual cameo of the movie, is what people have been calling the Cavalrine.
Well, he says that in the movie.
From behind you look a little bit like Henry. Oh my fuck! The Cavalrine. The legends are true.
That we'll treat you so much better than those shit fucks down the street. That was it was very nice seeing that cameo. And I hear that Henry Cavill was like really quick to do it because he wanted to do it so bad. Tell you, he looked the fucking part.
Yeah, because the only other time we've had one of those sort of fan casting, what do you call it, like a fan casting cameo, was John Krasinski as
Yes,
Mr. Fantastic, and he's too short for that role.
he's not. What happens after that montage? Oh, we meet
meet
yeah.
the worst Wolverine.
Listen, lady, I'm not interested in what you're selling. I do appreciate one thing I've noticed. Well, a complaint, but also a good thing, was the pace was kind of all over the place. Because right out the gate, it's very fast paced, and then there's a bit of a lull when we're setting up his life now, Deadpool's life. But then as soon as like we're in the TVA, everything gets really fast paced again. It's pretty quick till the end. It's like a sprint throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a lot of times where there's a lot of downtime, except for that beginning bit, which is probably why I found that the least interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. As soon as I liked the opening, and then the bit about his life was just a bit too drawn out. But then as soon as you get to the TVA, it's just full steam ahead the whole time.
Yeah, I think maybe if I felt the payoff was a bit stronger, I would feel differently about that. But as it is, yeah, I think. But it's okay. I mean, you can't have a movie otherwise you get the Rise of Skywalker, where it's just non-fucking stop the entire time.
Yeah, I don't mind that they didn't focus too much on his home life because it wasn't the focus of the movie. Like, to be honest, I'd have liked it if they focus on it less. But I get it for his motivation. But
yeah, they need to have something there.
Yeah, it's almost as if the movie had it in because it has to establish things, but then immediately goes like, okay, but this isn't what you want to see.
Right, yeah, right. Let's get that out of the way, and then we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think that, but then like the Wolverine arc, I think that worked pretty good.
It did.
And I really liked the stuff that was worked with X-23.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to it later, but it's Wolverine's whole, to say this isn't like, it's a familiar Wolverine, but it's not one we've ever actually met. They do a good job of sort of encapsulating a lot of the issues that every Wolverine has. There's always a theme with Wolverine, like, and this isn't just in movies; it's just everywhere, where he sort of feels a bit of an outsider to the rest of the X-Men when he isn't, because he's not the leader. He's just sort of like there, I guess, but he's not. He's sort of,
but now he's the X-Man now.
Yeah,
because everybody else is dead.
Yeah.
I still I love Logan. The movie's fucking phenomenal. I still do feel like it is a bit of like okay, bringing it back, but as like its own isolated thing, I can kind of swallow that a bit better. But I do feel like
he's 90.
Yeah, I do feel like it didn't need to happen. Like, I don't feel like I really gained a lot from having Wolverine. I mean, aside from having Hugh Jackman back in his iconic role, it was fun to see. But I don't feel like there was really a lot added to Wolverine from this version of him.
I don't either, because he already had a fully complete character arc.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm more than okay with him just getting a happy ending as a character. So he picks up this Wolverine, and Deadpool's whole plan is that, okay, I'll just bring this Wolverine to my universe, and he can be the anchor being, and then my universe can be safe. And Paradox just laughs him out of the room and sends them both to the void.
Which is kind of like, it was kind of inane that he thought that that would work in the first place.
But that's Deadpool. He doesn't think.
Yeah, but he's probably seen both seasons of Loki. He knows how complicated this shit is. I mean, when I was watching that, I was like, "There's no way this is going to solve the problem."
No.
Obviously, because we haven't done 2 hours of movie or whatever. But
yeah, I was wondering how they'd get from that point to ending up in the void, and then they immediately end up in the void. And I was like, oh.
One of my biggest complaints for this movie, it's just sort of inevitable though with Marvel as it is that how much it relies on you having seen the previous stuff, and I feel like this more than any of the other Marvel movies is that way.
I mean, what I have to go off is
they do give you enough. They give you enough to chew on, but it's just like it's just quick. Okay, the TVA just watches time. This is where we dump all of our shit, moving on. But like, because again, the movie's so fast paced, you're like trying to catch up. It wasn't really a problem for me, but it was a problem for like my father, who has not seen Loki. You know,
I guess it
and
depends.
It does. It's circumstantial.
Because then, my mother was watching it. My mother's seen the first season of Loki. She can't remember any of the Void. She doesn't know what a TVA is. She certainly doesn't know what is his name? Aboleth? What is it? The wolf?
Eliath, yeah.
Eliath. She doesn't remember what that is, but she sort of just
ableist. I think it's a problem because when Marvel first started the multiverse saga, like they didn't set up ground rules, so they're still making them up, and we're already like 5 years into it, you know. And I just think it's very messy at points.
It's bizarre.
And it's okay to keep introducing new concepts, but it's just too much at sometimes.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it's also a bit strange that it's like this movie wanted to like set some of those ideas in stone, but because they weren't already, and because it's a Deadpool movie, it sort of had like an uphill battle.
Yeah, I exactly.
Yeah.
If this had been the first movie in the multiverse saga, great. You know.
Yeah, great. You'd know anything that's happening. So
off to the Void.
Yeah, and we have our first Deadpool and Wolverine fight scene,
which is pretty good, solid.
Yeah, I mean, I like pretty much all the fight scenes in this movie. The only thing I didn't like is that they have a giant 20th Century Fox logo behind them, and Deadpool doesn't fall to his knees and do the whole Planet of the Apes thing.
Does he even acknowledge it?
I don't think he does. He might make a comment about it, but I was surprised that he didn't make a big deal about it.
So the fight scene happens, and I guess it's pretty quick that Deadpool says, well, I can help you fix your timeline. That happens pretty quick, right?
Yeah, because he sort of just needs to very quickly get Wolverine on his side because he's so hot-headed that he just has to come up with something.
Yeah, the animosity between them doesn't last very long, which is probably a good thing. They want to make it a buddy cop thing as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're at each other's throats, or at least Wolverine's at his throat pretty much for most of the middle section of the film. Yeah, I think their dynamic was pretty flawless. I don't really have any issues with it.
It was certainly more than I was expecting them to do. But then, of course, it's not just those two, because they see this is part of this whole thing of like commentary that only Deadpool could possibly do in a Marvel movie. Is they see a very familiar face in a blue costume.
Well, no, you can't even see his costume.
You can see that it's blue.
All right, well, he's in like a cloak.
Yeah, but like for all intents and purposes, you think you're looking at Captain America.
Yes.
Of course, that's what Deadpool thinks. And then he says his iconic line.
Oh my God, he's gonna say it!
Say what?
Avengers Assemble! Sorry, what now?
This was, I mean, that was a very surprising cameo. But after the Henry Cavill one, I was like, the cards were off the table. You know, it was like anything could happen. I was kind of thinking, but
I wasn't. It wasn't even the cameo for me, because I sort of had the same reaction. But it was more the fact that how long he's in the movie. I mean, he's not in it for too long, but
he's hardly in it at all. He's in it for this scene that he gets killed, and the next time he's in it, pretty much.
Yeah, but it's like 5 or so minutes. I thought he'd be in it a second if he was going to be in it, and then that'd be it.
One thing, like especially after seeing this movie, after everything that happened at Hall H, I've come to realize that like my issues with the concept of Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom are totally gone.
Oh,
because it worked. Because here it didn't bother me at all, and he's playing this two different characters. They don't look the same in like the universe. You know, like somebody wouldn't go up to, I mean, obviously Deadpool because he breaks the fourth wall, but Wolverine wouldn't, like if he saw Captain America and he saw this version of the Human Torch, he wouldn't think they look like the same person.
In most, he might just say, "Oh, you kind of look familiar."
Yeah, so I think anybody who had that complaint about, oh, we're not going to be able to disassociate Robert Downey Jr. from Iron Man when we see him as Dr. Doom, I think that's now nonsense. I think it'll be very easy to adjust.
The only caveat is that Chris Evans already had form for playing the Human Torch before Captain America, whereas Robert Downey Jr. never played Doctor Doom before. But it doesn't matter.
But he still became like his time as Captain America totally outshined his time as Human Torch.
Oh yeah,
and that's why. So I think that's why it will work. So the other, I guess there's probably a bunch of cameos too I don't recognize besides Sabretooth.
This is where we get to the sort of X-Men villains cameos. The main ones out of the Mad Max band of them is Pyro, who I couldn't even remember from X-Men movies. Like, very
I didn't know
vaguely.
he was.
But it's bizarre because he gets quite a prominent role.
Yeah, he has like kind of an arc. Not really.
He has an arc that's undercut for a joke, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't really care about him. So,
and then very briefly, there's Toad, who
that's the tongue
I don't
guy.
know if you know, is Darth Maul.
Oh, really? It's Ray Park.
Yeah. The Sabretooth, which is the original Sabretooth, not the Lee Schreiber one, which I was very disappointed wasn't.
Was that version in another X-Men movie? Look like
the
that.
First one. I'm hoping they're saving the Lee Schreiber Sabretooth for something else because it looks like, and
I'm pretty sure it's the actor who played Michael Myers in the 2 Rob Zombie Halloween films.
Oh, really?
I think it is him. They're really tall. He's like a wrestler. Tyler Mane, I think, is the actor. It looks like him, and I think that must have been him.
Do you see the Red Devil looking guy?
Is the guy who's like teleporting around?
Yeah. Do you know who Nightcrawler is?
Is that the Alan Cumming guy character?
Yes, it is. My favorite X-Men. That's his dad. You get the main villain of the piece, which is Cassandra Nova, who is such a bizarre character, where it's Charles Xavier's evil twin, who nobody ever really remembers because it's such a strange comic storyline. Which sort of works for this movie because it's like a forgotten piece of X-Men history that wouldn't have got into a movie otherwise.
I think she's definitely not one of the most memorable Marvel villains, but I think she does an okay job. I mean, she serves her purpose fine. I mean, Emma Corrin's a great actress. She looks a little bit like Richard O'Brien, though, in this movie. But, yeah, I think she's intimidating. You know, even, like, obviously the first person she kills on screen.
I don't...
But it's just really cool. I love the body horror shit she does, where she puts her hand in people's heads. That's cool.
Wow,
that's a really cool effect.
I don't want to ever see it again.
No, it's like really unsettling. But
I could it felt like somebody while I was watching it. It was like I could feel somebody's fingers up my nose. I didn't like it.
So what did you think of her as a character?
I liked her. I was surprised. I didn't think she'd be as memorable as a villain as she was.
I guess she's more memorable than a lot of what's happened with Phase 5.
Yeah. No, I quite liked her. It's like she sort of. I'm trying to think of a comparison in another movie where it's like a one-off villain who is good for that movie, serves their purpose, and is kind of memorable, and then that's it.
I think she's kind of like a Hela in that regard.
She very much is, because she's like that missing sibling. That's, although I'd say she's better in that regard.
I think she's better. She's better than Hela. Yeah, for sure.
That's a very good comparison. What even happens next? So they have.
Well, they escape from her compound.
That's it. So
they're looking for the Badlands or Borderlands. What do they call it? I think Cassandra Nova says something about there being like a sort of resistance going on. Yeah, out in the Badlands. So that's where they go next. Well, they can first run into Nice Pool. Is that what it's called? Nice Pool?
Yeah, well, first they run into.
Never seen you looking so lovely as you did tonight.
See, I just thought Dogpool was just going to be in the movie, like it's like, oh, he's just around. But like, it's funny that you've got all that home life stuff going on with Deadpool, but like the real heart of the movie is how he feels about Dogpool. I found it bizarre how, like, even though so that's just Ryan Reynolds, like, with long hair in the Deadpool suit, but like I couldn't see it properly. I couldn't see it in comparison to regular Deadpool, who has all the stuff on his face. He wasn't even playing it that much. He was just like being overly nice. But it
was
like,
bizarre.
very
It seemed
uncanny. I
always
couldn't-
smiling. Yeah, because he was always
Yeah,
smiling.
I don't know how he did it.
I can gently tap the fourth wall, too. The proposal. What the fuck was that?
Anyway, so yeah, we're
Honda
they meet
Odyssey.
up with Nice Pool into the Honda Odyssey, make the trek to the Badlands, and this is where they really start. It's the road trips break up every relationship.
Yeah. This is like the exact middle of the movie.
Yeah, and it leads to, I think this is my favorite fight scene in the movie.
Oh,
inside
yeah,
the Honda
definitely.
Odyssey.
Yeah, I thought the fight scene was great. I don't know where they came up with it, like just in that limited space.
Oh, yeah, it was very inventive considering how restrictive the environment was.
Yeah. So they get to this like resistance base, and it's strange because it does a bunch of establishing shots, and there's a statue of Scarlet Witch, and it's like, is this meant to be Wundagore Mountain?
Yeah, I don't know why that would exist in the void.
Well, I mean, after whatever happened in Multiverse of Madness, I could see like parts of Wundagore Mountain having just fell into the void on accident because there was a bunch of
How does that happen?
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's something to do with how Scarlet Witch gets out of that situation. You get what I think is a great scene when they finally introduce these sort of like legacy characters, where it like escalates. So you get Elektra, which is sort of a very obscure niche sort of character to have.
Great film.
I can't even remember it.
I've never seen it.
But then you get Blade. Oh, I was so happy to see Blade. I love Blade. The thing about this movie that's good is it's not just these gratuitous cameos. There's like a bit of heart behind it.
I think I actually watched the Red Letter Media review, and I almost always agree with what Mike says all the time. But he made the point saying that he loved the movie, and he said that the cameos worked because they weren't really cameos. They actually had arcs of their own, little mini arcs. And Jay was kind of like, yeah, I don't really know about that. And I kind of agree with Jay that they really are just there to fight. Like, what are their arcs? X-23 is an arc, which I think works.
I think it's less about an arc and it's more just about getting like a last hurrah. Because this whole movie is this idea of paying respects to the Fox Marvel universe, which is the predecessor to the MCU.
Right. So it works on like a meta level, but it doesn't work necessarily in terms of the movie on its own.
Yeah, but I don't need it to work that much.
Right. Well, it's made for fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it needs to be made for people that have not seen anything Marvel before, because it shouldn't be.
Yeah, because I think from an outsider perspective, it's just meant to be, oh, these are just displaced heroes. It's not just about these characters as characters. It's about the actors who played them and sort of their own journey and what these movies meant in their journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it's funny with Gambit, considering that he's famous for not existing, or like that version of him is famous for never having existed.
But I mean, that's sort of like the perfect example of like he never got his chance to shine. No, I was gonna say, so you've got like this ragtag group, and Wolverine's completely disinterested until X-23 walks in, who he doesn't know. But Deadpool lets him know that that's like a significant person to his Wolverine.
Wasn't that in the diner scene where he first mentioned that?
Yeah, he mentions her, but I mean, this is like where he actually can put a face to the name.
Yeah, I think like that's a good dialogue scene.
Yeah,
I think it ends with, "What do you say? I'm not the right guy."
Yeah.
Right, and she says, "You never were." But I think in that moment, it doesn't even really feel necessarily like he's been redeemed or like he's changed his mind.
No,
until you see him pluck him out of the trunk.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to keep it they're trying to keep it so, and they do it very well. Where it's like she's obviously said who he is. Again, this whole thing if he doesn't fit in properly, and that's kind of the point. But it doesn't show you that he's got it yet, which is good because
Yeah.
it keeps up the sort of illusion that he's not going to join them until he gets out. I mean, I know he's going to join them eventually anyway, but I get what they were doing, and I like what they were doing.
So everybody pack up in the car for National Lampoon's void vacation. I was going to go straight into the fight scene if you have something to add. I mean,
no, I was going to say as soon as they pull up, I because they're like massively outnumbered. I just remember thinking, you're all dead.
yeah.
And what's weird is they weren't.
They even played with they even had the moment where they all started like failing.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing even ever came of that. Because there's that whole sort of fight scene where it's showing them individually and showing their skills, which is nice because it's aside from the sort of metatextual reasons they're in the movies, they all have very different fighting styles and different things going on.
Yeah, that was one of the fights where I think it was kind of like just.
It's my least favorite fight though.
I think, yeah, it's just fight for fight's sake. It's just a lot of nonsense on the screen.
Yeah. You know what though? I say that fight scene, because amongst it all, you've got Deadpool and Wolverine confronting Cassandra, but that fight scene sort of fizzles out.
Yeah.
And you don't really ever get a conclusion to it. I don't know how it ended up. And for example,
you do see.
So go on.
You do see how, I mean, not the end, but you see the aftermath when they're watching them jump through the sling ring.
Yeah, but there's fights still going on when that happens.
Yeah, but it's like the end of it. I mean, obviously I'm assuming they all survive. X-23 obviously does.
Because at the end of the movie, Deadpool says to the lady who runs the TVA that I don't remember the name of.
B-15.
That's it. B-15 bomber pilot. He says to her, about his friends, that they don't have anywhere to go. So you presume, it's not like she walks in and, they're dead. So, however, X-23, who, even though I know they're variants or whatever, but, just presume she's the same one.
She is. They said she was.
Yeah, so she's the same one. So, however she got there, she's now living in 2024, or whenever it is, in Deadpool's universe, which means there's a kid version of her somewhere as well in that universe.
Why does she have to exist in that universe?
It's the universe she comes from. So she's X-23 from the Deadpool slash.
No. Yeah, but that's a different universe than the one they end up at. Oh yeah, it is. No.
They end up
back
home.
Because they're back at. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're back in that one. Yeah.
So that means in 5 years time, Logan ends up happening.
But why didn't that? I'm confused a little bit because his timeline was decaying because Logan was his anchor being.
Yeah.
Their anchor being that universe. So what stopped that? Because they had a new Wolverine in that universe, I thought that wasn't supposed to be that way.
I don't know, because this is where
how did I not think about this? Yeah.
This is where I agree with you. Where they don't explain things enough, or maybe it's not even thought out enough. Because how does that even work, anyways? That a universe just dies when some random person is born and then dies.
Well, yeah. Was it just that? Was it when they when they did the stuff with the Time Ripper, where they I don't know.
No, it's something to do with the TVA afterwards, because they say something to them.
I'm not sure if I just missed an entire bit of dialogue, but I kind of feel like
it's right at the end. I don't remember the explanation or lack thereof, because there is one, but it's just not very. It's very vague about all the sort it out. But
when they're overloading the Time Ripper, though, it says timeline integrity. There's a bar that's going down, and then when they overload it, it fills back up. So maybe that's it. I don't really know. I didn't even have this problem when I saw the movie, but now I'm thinking, did they even acknowledge that?
Yeah. I mean, I think what you meant to presume is one of two things. Either now this Wolverine's like proved himself. He's the anchor being or whatever. I don't know. Or that anchor beings don't actually matter that much, and it's more like maybe timeline's in danger of deteriorating if there's no anchor being, but there's ways around it.
But you can't replace an anchor being, though. That's what the
But
paradox said.
you only get that from Paradox. You don't know. We don't know enough about it yet. And again, the movie doesn't tell you enough about it to know either way what the deal is with that.
I agree that the anchor being concept is really kind of stupid.
It's-
like,
I'm pretty sure it's going to play a big role in things like Secret Wars. It's too underdeveloped to know yet, which is. It's like if we was watching Iron Man 2 and they mentioned the blip. We were like, the what? You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of that deal.
well, let's talk about the Cassandra Nova scene with the Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, that's her best scene in the movie for sure.
Yeah, it is.
And I guess that's also the bit where she goes in Logan's head, right? And
Yeah.
sees
That this is like not the whole payoff, but like this is a lot of not payoff to his character arc, but it's where he uses things that have been imparted on him by Professor X.
right.
Like, you know, the whole thing of like he's actually tricking her, which is
that-
it's kind of great because Wolverine, it shows that he doesn't have to just be the claws and the anger and the fighting. It shows that he can be like intellectual and that he's learned things.
Was that supposed to be like a big graveyard he was in?
Yeah, I don't know if it was real or if it was like metaphorical, but yeah, they were all meant to be X-Men.
Yeah, I thought after this, I thought Cassandra was going to sort of help them.
Yeah, because I mean, it sets it
Well,
up that way because they tried to use the helmet, and obviously they can't in the end because they have to take it off her so she can heal, and they need her. But like Wolverine tries it the other way of trying to do it the Professor X way, where he uses because I mean the whole crux of X-Men is like the ideological difference between Professor X and Magneto, where Professor X wants sort of like a peaceful solution to the problem with, you know, with mutants and humans, whereas Magneto feels like they've been downtrodden too long, so sort of wants to take the world by force. And I
You
mean,
know what's fucked?
go on.
Quickly, they could have totally killed her and just taken her fucking sling ring, because anybody can open that shit pretty much.
Yeah,
so,
but that's the point.
yeah,
The point is that's where Wolverine proves that he is Wolverine still, is that he doesn't go the Magneto way, which would just be kill her and take the sling ring. He tries to empathize with her like Professor X would. He even says it like as much. He said, you know, he says how much he'd have cared for her. And like that's the X-Men, the whole story of the X-Men encapsulated sort of in what I think is quite a clever way. And he's also doing it to like a mirror of his mentor.
The way this suit. It means I'm an X-Man. I am the X-Man.
yeah, I agree. That whole scene works really well, and Hugh Jackman's acting is excellent in it.
Yeah, it's
He's
a
acting throughout the whole
shame
film.
They undercut it with making her a bad guy again, but oh well.
Yeah, it was fucking Pyro's fault. It's Paradox's fault.
So
through the sling ring, we're back in New York, right? Isn't that where we end up?
yeah, because they say it's a New York subway, but the only thing about all that is the whole street. Because I mean, I guess it was like looked like a set, like a really.
It did.
Like,
Yeah, it did.
It didn't look real at all, and I just kind of wish they'd filmed it on a street.
Because they reused that one segment of the street for like every time they showed this was just that one street.
Yeah. So, Time Ripper, Paradox is like, oh, you're too late.
Yep.
It doesn't matter anyways, because to keep Deadpool and Wolverine busy is an army of every Wolverine's worst nightmare.
Almost all of them were totally lost on me. I didn't know any of them.
They're not.
I did not care about that at all.
they're not really. I think only like 4 of them were actual things in comic books that are consequential, which is Ladypool, Dogpool, Headpool, and like Kidpool.
I did recognize immediately that was Matthew McConaughey. I even made an aside to Christian.
I didn't, and I already knew it was going to be him, and then I'd forgotten about it, or at least I heard it was going to be him, and then Ladypool was Blake Lively, Babypool and Kidpool with Ryan Reynolds' kids.
I think Headpool was Nathan Fillion, right?
Yes, he was. I don't know if that's meant to be a reference to anything. There's one Deadpool though that I don't know how they would have done it, but that didn't appear in the movie, which is the only other portrayal of Deadpool that like people know about and was thought of as the definitive Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds, which is the video game version, voiced by Nolan North.
Nolan, hey, what's up, buddy? We're making a game about me. We gotta have you do the VO, man. I mean, see, here's the thing. People tell me we sound alike.
That sounds awesome, Deadpool. Listen, I had a different take on it.
Yeah, well, fuck you, Nolan.
And I was really sad he wasn't in the movie anywhere. I don't know how they would have done it. I guess there somewhere, but I was like expecting it, and he just was not there.
That whole scene felt again just like overload.
I don't really know what the deal was with that. I think it's because they had like the idea for a bunch of Deadpools and didn't know where to fit it in.
That's exactly what it is, I think.
But like, it sort of makes sense that, again, because I don't really like the direction they went with Cassandra Nova at the end. But it makes sense that she'd just be able to rile up all these Deadpools because Deadpool's hot-headed and doesn't really think about things. I love the whole thing with Nice Pool, where like Deadpool was very blatantly trying to get him killed just so he could have the guns and the dog. I love that. I love the whole time as well. He's riddled with bullets, but the Nice Pool's still like smiling.
He's like bleeding out the mouth.
Yeah, like he keeps telling him, like, you're gonna make it through this, buddy. You're gonna make it. Like, he's fucking dead. So then this is where the fight scene happens, and it's all, I don't know if it really is or it's like a faux version, but it's in one take. It like goes across, like it pans across the street and it goes into that bus. It's fine. Like it's hard to see what's going on because there's so much stuff happening. But like when you catch glimpses of things, they were doing like clever things with the fights. You just like, it's hard to keep up with it. I did like that once they got to the end of the street, and I liked the idea that it hadn't even occurred to them that all the Deadpools just got back up again.
It didn't occur to me in the moment.
It did me. Like, I was just waiting.
Well, I think why? Because they
Nice
just
Pool.
had Nice Pool, yeah.
So they did a good subversion there, but I was just thinking to myself, like, because I don't know, there was something suspicious about how they were filming it, where I was like, oh, they were all going to get up again, huh? And then it doesn't matter because the day saved by Peter, who we haven't really talked about in the film.
I mean, he was the
Because he's
highlight of
only
Deadpool too.
Yeah, but he's more like a joke character.
I think he's just used in the same way pretty much in both movies. I mean,
Yeah, but what I mean is he's just like.
He's not much of a character. He doesn't really
No.
add anything.
I think in this movie, weirdly enough, he's meant to represent like Wade's like home life, and in a weird way also the struggle he has but being Deadpool. But again, they don't go into any of this too much because it's not what the movie's actually about. It sort of feels like this is like a holdover from another movie.
Yeah, the last movie.
Yeah, because there was a whole character arc of him like giving up.
Him showing up to just save the day. It adds to the idea that this fight scene was just totally gratuitous, and they just needed to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know.
But yeah, then you get the whole thing with the Time Ripper.
Basically, it's like, hey, look, she's at the Time Ripper. The only way you can stop her is if you collide the matter-antimatter reactor.
Yeah.
And we get a sort of what we're meant to believe is going to be a sacrifice. I was like, when they were like at the door and Logan was like, "Let me do this," and Deadpool, I thought, and then Deadpool like, you know, overstepped and then threw him, and then he went in himself. I was like, I didn't want that. I thought he was like Wolverine should have sacrificed himself there. I think that's what should have happened.
Yeah, but then you're just retreading Logan.
Yeah.
And I also think, because I understand that. I also think that he's not in a Wolverine movie or an X-Men movie, so that can't happen. He's in a Deadpool movie, and Deadpool's star. I liked that they sort of resolved their like shared character arc with the whole educated wish thing, where sort of the whole impetus for the movie, like Wolverine finally got it. But I do also like that Deadpool completely undercut his like heroic sacrifice, because that's just what Deadpool was gonna do. But what I didn't like was so in the end, Deadpool was like trying to like get between the two, I don't know what you call them, the matter and the antimatter parts of the Time Ripper, and he can't reach.
Yeah.
So then, of course, to hold his hand is not Deadpool, is to hold his hand is Wolverine. And like, I get it, like, you know, it's both of them doing it together because that's like the whole movie, but like his shirt bursts off.
Yeah, but that is so dumb because Deadpool's doesn't, and his
Yeah,
cowl
like-
doesn't. That's so.
Yeah.
That is so.
And like, so I understand the joke, but like he doesn't look good with the cowl and nothing else. Like I wish the cowl had, like, even though I liked seeing it, I wish the cowl had gone by then. Yeah, what did you think to Madonna?
I mean, I'm not really a big Madonna fan, but the song. I mean, all the songs worked well in the movie. So
Yeah, we
I
haven't
did.
really touched too much on the soundtrack, because I mean, I think there's a lot of good songs in it.
Yeah,
I
all
like that they
the
used-
pop songs were good.
When I was reading that interview with Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy, they were saying how, like, I mean, they'd had a different idea for this scene where it was something to do with like Colossus dying, like way before it was Deadpool and Wolverine, and like they'd had a vision of this scene with the song in it. So like it's very strangely like been a part of this movie, like from its like early drafts. I don't know why. I don't. Strange,
Yeah,
but
I don't know why either. I mean, I think it works fine, but I don't. It wasn't a moment where I was like, "Wow, this is the only song that would work. It's perfect."
no,
you know?
yeah, I wasn't either. But they stopped the Time Ripper. Cassandra Nova gets pulled, which I thought
Yeah.
was a shame again, because I really wanted her to just be redeemed. Then the TVA, the proper TVA, come to pick up the pieces and fix Paradox's mess. And Paradox is sort of like, it's like it's affected him that they've sacrificed themselves. And you get like an emotional moment where like he's like finally like seeing it. What, you know, he understands, and he like, it's everything he was doing didn't matter because, you know, their sacrifice mattered more. And then they just both walk in. He goes, oh fuck.
He has risen, baby girl. Fuck!
And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand.
I mean, you knew they weren't going to die because it's just, again, it wasn't that kind of movie. Like, if it was like a Wolverine movie, yeah, they're dead. But
There was never any real tension there, I don't think.
no, there wasn't. I kind of wish they'd have, because it shows like a shot of the whole, like, the aftermath of the Time Ripper. I kind of wish you'd have seen them there and saw them like move, because I don't like that they both just walk in and nobody's going to check on them.
Well, I mean, everybody else is expecting the fucking universe to end.
Yeah.
Shawarma.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were gonna like recreate that exact shot from the Avengers.
Yeah. And
But
Deadpool's
no.
like, you know, the Avengers founded Shawarma. I like the idea of Wolverine just getting up and he was just going to walk off and just kind of, just, I don't know, do his own thing.
Not so
'Cause it's-
fast.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have seen it ending there with just Wolverine walking off and just, that's it. But no, he gets a happy ending because happy ending. This is probably like the worst ending you could give Wolverine, is that he has to go live with Deadpool now forever.
Well, he also has his daughter. I mean,
Yeah, no, he
surrogate daughter.
has a happy ending. He does get a happy ending because he's managed to redeem himself for his mistakes, and he gets a daughter and he gets a best friend in quotation marks. What do you think to a happy ending?
yeah, I think it was nice. I mean, it all felt a little sort of a sprint to the end.
Yeah.
Like, and the stuff with Vanessa, like, again, I just think that whole arc was just pretty ineffective. I like Marina Baccarin. I like her a lot. I like her a lot in Gotham, obviously. But they were really great in the first Deadpool movie together. And I kind of feel like that spark is kind of, I mean, she wasn't really in this one at all, and she was dead for the entire lead of the last one.
Yeah.
I think they're bringing her back, but they're not really using her in a very, particularly interesting way.
Yeah, I know that Deadpool went back and saved her.
Only for her to leave him.
Yeah, I think they should have in this movie, they should have explained that he couldn't save her no matter how many times he went back, which is why he was miserable.
And then without her, he has no purpose, so he needs to find a new one.
Exactly. That would have got you there better than the stuff at the start of the movie.
Kevin, now you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Hire us to help write the next Avengers movies.
It's bizarre because even though it's like it's a happy ending, I guess like it's very complete. I think all Deadpool movies have been like that, where they're like a whole package. Like it's not like there's anything that leads to a shut up.
Yeah, I guess the last one. Yeah, they don't really end. They're not sequel baiting.
No, like for example, like Deadpool 1 ends. He saved Vanessa, and he's got like his new friends. Deadpool 2 ends with he's got his new friends, and then he saves Vanessa, and then this movie ends where he's got his new friends, and he's not with Vanessa, but he might get back with Vanessa. So
yeah, I think the ending is fine. I don't find it that satisfactory. I think it works for the movie, but I don't know. I feel a little bit underwhelmed by some of the character stuff. I think the Wolverine stuff. My favorite bit is him being with X-23. That's the nicest Kepler for me.
Yeah.
And but everything else
Mine's
is just
the
kind
dog.
of.
I thought the way it was going to go was that he decided that he didn't belong in his world and was going to end up in the MCU. Because it's strange now, because the MCU's always worked on this idea of like we're sticking to the one world. Like we'll go visit other worlds and we'll like toy with them, but like primarily everything's in one place. And I mean, obviously that is not the case because there's other universes, but it's just weird now that there's that whole other universe that's just off to the side that like, I don't know, is that going to be part of like everything going forward, that it all doesn't just have to be in one universe?
I don't know. I can't wait till the multiverse saga is over. I like how they even mentioned that.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that like maybe they were serious, that like they actually are going to cut down on the multiverse stuff now, but I don't think so. I think that's going to be full on for the next few years.
Well, I don't know. Other than the 2 Avengers movies, where else is that going to crop up?
I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be other movies that we don't know about. Yeah. Spider-Man 4.
I don't want to think about Spider-Man 4. I'm scared of it. In the mid-credits, there's that nice like clip show of.
Yeah, that was kind of sweet.
Yeah, it was really nice, especially since I grew up with all of that. And then, of course, the most importantly, there's the post-credit scene where we get an expose.
If the last thing I do in this godforsaken cum-gutter existence is light that fuckbox on fire, I still won't die happy.
Holy shit, girl, you crazy.
That's right, Wade.
I've never heard such abominable things come out of a man's mouth. I know that's why Chris Evans wanted to be in the movie, because they sent him like that whole speech, and he said, if that's in the movie, I'm in.
Yeah, well, when I first talked to you after I saw this movie, I was not particularly thrilled by it, but in the like week since I've seen it, yeah, it's warmed on me a lot. And I just seeing the general positivity by everybody, that does definitely make me feel a little bit better about it. And even though I think that there was a lot of gratuity and just stuff for the sake of stuff, there was a lot of good entertainment value. And it would probably still be in like my upper middle Marvel films if I were to rank them all right now. But yeah, I think it was fun, and that's what Deadpool's supposed to be. So it's not. Deadpool 1 is still my favorite, but I would say it's better than Deadpool 2.
As you know from when I saw it, this was like ranking very highly on my list, and then it just kept going up. Right now, it's in my top 3 Marvel movies.
Crazy.
It sort of just had everything I wanted. Because again, I grew up with X-Men and stuff, and I liked the whole thing. Everything it did, I thought it did right.
I mean, the main selling point of the film, the 2 of them worked very well. I think the plot was a bit messy. The pace was a bit here and there. It was actually a bit too breakneck sometimes.
It was a bit there, yeah.
But yeah, the good outweighs the bad. I'm not saying this is a very entertaining film. I'm not saying that there's any reason why people should avoid it. Unless you're totally clueless about Marvel, then you will be probably admitted to the ER after watching this movie.